Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, and live on Discord we got Josh.
Hey.
First thing to kick off, to talk about, I know we'll be playing his theme in the middle of the show, but I want to talk about Rey Fenix debut on SmackDown. Surprise opponent, Nathan Frazer. But what did you think of Fenix's WWE debut?
Probably the best option they had. You had to get people interested in him. And Frazer's a good talent in the ring, so you could definitely show over. He's not going to be somebody who's going to be even remotely close to winning the match. So I think it was the perfect circumstance for him coming in with his first match and just gets Phoenix over, and by the extension, it also gets Frazer over by exposing him to the main crowd in the same way they did Axiom a couple weeks ago against Gunther.
I thought it was kind of cool to see both halves of Fraxium come up on the main roster and have a bit of a showcase match. Obviously, as you said, neither of them expected to win those matches, or neither of them, they weren't the focus of the match. Those were Gunther and Phoenix, but it was still, they're two talents that you can rely on, and I'm really interested in when they do come up to the main roster and just what they're able to pull off and to do. But man of the hour, Phoenix. I think the knock-on question here: debut, awesome, great, loved what I saw, want to see more. That's how you want the debut to go. We were picturing, what does WrestleMania look like? He's coming in 2 weeks beforehand, or 3 weeks beforehand. It's not the United States Championship. That's locked up. We got a match for that set. Where does Phoenix's chip lay when it comes to WrestleMania, which we're starting? I think last week when we talked, we maybe had 4 or 5 matches official. Now we're looking more down the line of 10 odd matches locked in. What part is he going to play?
It's possible he might not have a part to play because he came in so late. So I hate to say this, but I think the obvious thing might be the Andre the Battle Giant, the Battle Royal on SmackDown, winning it.
Yeah.
But
that's not a bad spot.
No, it would be if he was like he'd come in at the same time as Penta did, and they built him up for the 3 months going into it. That would have been bad. But with 2 weeks to build on anything, the only thing you could have done other than this is just open challenge at WrestleMania, the way they did Cody's return. So I'm fine with it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I can't shake the feeling that there was a reason to debut him prior to WrestleMania, because you could have waited. You could have waited the 3 weeks, brought him out on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, had a big debut, but we did do it before WrestleMania, because we know Rusev, we know Aleister Black, we know they're in the wings, potentially also debuting shortly after, or re-debuting, returning shortly after WrestleMania. I don't know. Maybe it's just that little bit of me still hanging on to Phoenix having a role at WrestleMania.
Well, you may have just hit the nail on the head without actually intending to.
Yeah.
The people you mentioned that are expected to come, he might have gotten lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
If he debuted at the same time those guys returned, along with the inevitable NXT call-ups and any other re-signings that we may not know about at this time. So that could be why they debuted him a couple weeks early, is to give him a couple weeks of shine on him specifically, to get people used to him and stuff without overshadowing by Rusev Day, Aleister Black / whatever they want to call him.
Yeah. Talking about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which from here forth I will just call the Battle Royal, there's a chance that maybe that's also the return spot for someone like Rusev, coming out and making a statement there as well. So there's definitely options floating around. I don't think we're concrete locked in to that sort of lower mid card, lower card kind of WrestleMania matches. Stuff at the top started to get cemented in, started to make shape. That bottom pieces are still floating around, or at least so I thought, until we had one of our big tentpole WrestleMania matches cut short, with Kevin Owens making an announcement this week.
Yeah, that was quite sad. Um, I'm worried that this could be potentially the end of his career because this is a serious injury. Um, it may be something we may see him back in a year. We may never see him wrestle again.
Hmm.
This is tricky, and unfortunately, it does rob us of what would have been a good match at WrestleMania. It also, what do we do with Randy Orton now?
Yeah, I think, as you said, first off, I guess like thoughts go straight out to Kevin Owens, who is in a really bad spot. But at least he's gonna, go get the surgery and go heal up, get himself fixed. But yeah, there was the possibility of doing something in John Cena's retirement year with Kevin that's gone out the window. And as you say, Randy Orton has just entirely opened up 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out from WrestleMania, and he doesn't exactly like fit in to many of the spots. I would say that he would fit in well in a triple threat with Cody Rhodes and John Cena, but I don't want to see that. I don't want to mess up the story we're telling over there right now. He does have history with Cena, he does have history with Cody, but I don't know what his position's going to be on the card. Maybe he wins the Battle Royal. And I alluded to it earlier with the United States Championship that LA Knight got himself a challenger locked in for WrestleMania. That is because Braun Strowman was defeated. Jacob Fatu is heading forward to WrestleMania. And we spoke about how the solo Fatu explosion wasn't yet to happen. Is it going to be WrestleMania, or is Fatu going to be, winning that United States title? Because I highly doubt that LA Knight defeats Fatu cleanly at WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Jacob Fatu is becoming a bigger and bigger star. As long as he can stay healthy, the sky is the limit for this guy. Obviously, I don't think LA Knight beats him. Period. I think he walks out with the U.S. title unless Solo Sikoa screws him over.
Mm.
It could be intentional. It could be completely by accident. But that is the only circumstance that I see LA Knight walking out with the U.S. title, and I
Yeah,
just don't see it. I just don't see it.
the smart money is definitely on Fatu walking out with championship gold, and it all just comes down to what is the story that we want to tell with the bloodline. And we'd been saying for a little while that the story has kind of cooled down. It was pretty hot. We were doing Roman stuff. We were doing Cody stuff. We finally separated Cody off. He's going and doing Rock John Cena stuff, and Bloodline 2.0 just sort of existing a little bit. And maybe this is the heater, whether that's Solo Sikoa messing up Fatu's shot, whether that's Solo getting jealous because Fatu has a championship. There's a few different sparks that could happen as a result of this match, even if it isn't Fenix or a multi-person match or anything like that. There's something that could happen here. I'm not confident it's gonna happen, but there's something that could happen. And I guess that opens up the follow-up question of what do you do with Braun Strowman at WrestleMania then? Because now you've got Randy Orton floating around because this Kevin Owens match isn't going forward. You got Braun Strowman losing a number one contendership. That's another upper mid card main event guy not on the card.
Yeah,
Maybe he wins the Battle Royal.
maybe. Um, I'm less interested in what they do with Strowman, because honestly, he hasn't been booked that strong since he's returned. So it is what it is.
Roman's kind of been used as like a vessel to get Bronson Reed over to get Fatu over, not necessarily to keep his own shine.
I'm going to throw this out for you for Randy Orton.
Right.
How about Randy Orton versus SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis?
Yeah. I've seen, after the RKO on SmackDown, I've seen people going, oh, is this something we can do? Is this something we can do? If Nick's happy, you know, like, I'm never going to say no to Magnus coming out, doing something. I like the guy. I liked him as a wrestler. I've liked him as a general manager figure, but I don't know if we ever got a reason that he was doing general manager instead of coming in as a wrestler, other than he was a little bit older and on the other end of his career.
Yeah, both him and Adam Pearce could still wrestle if they wanted to. I still want to see like a Survivor Series or something for bragging rights, him versus Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
I think that would be I think it would end up being a phenomenal match. It could also be a phenomenally comical match if they wanted to make it that way. But I think there is some. I think they will wrestle at least once during his tenure at WWE. I don't think it'll be at WrestleMania because I think it's something you might want to build to. But if it happens, cool.
Yeah, I think if, like, it may be just because of what's happened with Randy Orton's match as a sort of last minute replacement, I could see it. As you said, a bit of build would make more sense, but because of the nature around what has happened with our WrestleMania build, maybe we pull the trigger and we just put it on so Randy can get a big spotlight match and Nick can get in the ring. Who knows? Well, we are roughly halfway through the show, and that means I am going to play the theme that I already said I was going to play, and that is Rey Fenix's theme, playing for you right about now. And you're back at Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We talked about Fenix on the other side of the song. We played his music. Let's talk about his brother, Penta, over on Raw. We finally have our Intercontinental Championship match for WrestleMania. We wondered how many men were going to be involved. Was it going to be 6? Was it going to be 8? Was it going to be more or less all over the place? It's 4. 4 is the answer.
Yep, and it's the logical 4, to be honest. It's obviously our champion. You can't have an Intercontinental Championship match without the champion.
You could try.
To have it, you'd have to strip him of the championship, and I don't think I'd want to stand in front of him if you do that. Just ask the security guard that got killed this past Monday. Then you have Penta, who we obviously expected to be in the match. And then we have the volatile combination of Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, combining a couple of feuds, right? Because I still feel like Judgment Day, their storyline is still brewing. Dominic, Finn, all of the Judgment Day feuds have been lately person X either wants to leave or is being forced to leave, and we're going to fight about it. I think Finn probably hasn't escaped that type of feud for the last 12 months. And he's probably not going to escape it here.
No. This should be a banger match, though. Part of me wants to say, because I'm not gonna bet against Braun Breaker much. he's in the territory of like Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns, where I think if he's going to win, he's going to win. So I'll give him a 30% chance of winning. I'll give Penta a 40% chance of winning. And then Dominic gets the remaining 30. Yes,
Balor doesn't get any.
Balor walks out with the Intercontinental title.
You missed a shot there to give Braun Breaker 33 1/3 chance.
No, I did end up having to give him 130. What was it? 134 1/3 or something percent chance.
I'm with you. I think Penta makes the most sense as a winner coming out of this. I think Finn makes the least sense. It's just which option do they want to go with. I think that title is around Penta's waist by the end of the year. Is it now? Is it next pay-per-view? Is it the one after that? I don't know. But he will have that championship soon in my head.
Yeah, and I think Braun Breaker moves on. He might, like, at the next pay-per-view, might have a return match against the winner of the match. But then I think he's a strong candidate for either the Money in the Bank contract or hanging out for like 7 months and winning the Rumble next year.
Mm.
He's winning within the next year. He's winning a world title. There's no doubt in my mind that by the end of WrestleMania 42, he is a world champion at some point. Whether it's 5 months from now because of the briefcase or WrestleMania 42 itself because he won the Rumble. It's happening.
Yeah. He's a strong candidate as well, looking at the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker versus Gunther. That has weight to it. And Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso, they have quite a bit of history there with that Intercontinental Championship. Could, very similarly to when Gunther won the title and Sami Zayn showed up and they had the history with the Intercontinental title, and then they have a match or two over the World Heavyweight title. Maybe Jey wins the title at WrestleMania, and Braun Breaker, having had that history with him with the Intercontinental, pops up and has a couple matches with him for the World Heavyweight. The only problem is that probably does mean the end of Jey Uso's reign if Braun Breaker is coming at him for that championship. So maybe not right away if Jey does win.
That's why I proposed like the Money in the Bank briefcase, because then you could strategically have him, like, because I think Braun is the kind of person where he doesn't need to do the sneaky behind the back when the guy's down to cash in. Mm-hmm. He could call his shot.
Yeah.
It's not out of the realm of impossibility. I mean, it's only been done a couple of times, so it would be different to call a shot, to cash in advance. So, and I could easily see maybe he like cashing in at SummerSlam, like having a world title match at SummerSlam, and maybe there's where he takes it from Jey.
Is very likely. Talking about championship matches on WrestleMania weekend, NXT Stand and Deliver. We talked last week, I think it was, about the triple threat between Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans. Well, the rest of the card is still pending the winners of some qualifying matches. We do know what our NXT Women's Championship match is going to be. Last week we posited maybe it was going to be a triple threat. Maybe Stephanie was going to pick Jordan and Jada. Well, she did pick Jordan and Jada, but she also picked a returning Giulia, clocking it up to a fatal four-way.
She did pick Giulia. Giulia attacked her and got inserted into the match. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, this ought to be interesting, seeing these four ladies go at it. Honestly, I have no idea who's winning, to be 1,000% honest. But if Giulia was going to come back so soon from her injury, why not give her a couple weeks off, do an injury angle, like take her out for a couple weeks and then have her face somebody. Then you wouldn't have to do the vacant ladder match for the other title, because Stephanie would still be champion on that champion. You could do a ladder match for the championship. But
yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of question marks there, but it got Stephanie where she needed to be. It's just she came in at the same time as Giulia. Giulia was just a pecking order just a little bit higher at the time. So she got the one title, Stephanie got the other. Stephanie then gets the other title because of an injury. And now, are they about to both lose to Jordynne Grace? That is a question. And with all that I just said, watch it be Jada Parker that wins the match.
I would be shocked if Jada Parker did win, but I've seen weirder things happen. It is a weird one. It's not like the destination is confusing. You know, Stephanie as NXT Women's Champion, yeah, there being a ladder match for the North American Championship that maybe Zarya ends up winning. Yep, these all make sense. If you told me this 3 months ago, I'd be like, these all make sense. The confusing part is the road we took to get here. As you say, Giulia with an injury, champion v champion, double champ, defends it 1 week as a double champ, then gets stripped of the the North American Championship. That goes off into a ladder match, and then Giulia returns the very next week, and it does feel a little convoluted, but I don't know if that was a rolling with the punches. Like, they didn't know Giulia's injury was going to recover so well, so fast. So they've called an audible, pulled her back in. I don't know what's happening in terms of that, and I don't need to know what's happening in terms of that. And I think the Fatal 4-Way that has shaken out of this has been pretty good. Do I think it would be better as a triple threat? Yeah, probably. But that just leaves us open to have that triple threat later. That leaves us to have Stephanie versus Jordan one-on-one, a rematch, Stephanie, Giulia, Giulia, Jordan. All of these combinations are still there. I think, if anything, I'm hoping that Jada Parker gets the shine from being in this match with those three, right? If we're talking big recent debuts at the top of the women's division, it is Stephanie, Giulia, Jordan, and Zarya that are those recent additions who have shot right up to the top of the division. And so Jada playing around with three of them in a Fatal 4-Way match should do well for her stock as well. That was a lot of words. We still got time, so I'm actually going to jump us back to Raw. Let's talk about this American-made feud with the LWO. We said, what combination is the WrestleMania match going to happen here? Are we going to get tag team, 6-man tag? What are we going to do? And it turns out we're just getting a nice old singles match. El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio one-on-one. And we actually got the 6-man tag on Raw this week, where he teamed up with the Creed brothers against all non-Rey Mysterio members of the LWO, continuing what we said, where the LWO is just his bodies to throw in front of him. You beat them, and you get a shot at Rey Mysterio. Sort of fulfilled that prophecy we set out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly what we said. What we felt it was going to be. You know what? The most important thing that I'm interested in, what outfit is Rey Mysterio going to wear for the match? He always wears these crazy comic book inspired outfits for WrestleMania, and I'm excited to see that. I'm also questioning, like, what could they do for this match? Because I have a feeling that there's a possibility that they could do mask versus mask, and Americano gets unmasked at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think that is logical to me. When I first saw that the match was announced, I went to check. I was like, is this mask versus mask? Because the only problem is it does make the match pseudo-predictable, right? Rey Mysterio is probably not going to lose a mask versus mask match against someone who may or may not be Chad Gable. But in terms of the storyline and in terms of where we go, maybe it makes most sense to do the mask v mask at WrestleMania, not to delay it a pay-per-view or two.
Yeah, it's a big match, especially if there's a possibility that you could unmask Rey Mysterio. Obviously, I think if Rey was going to lose a mask match, I think it would be to Dom. I don't think anybody else has the right to take his mask.
All right, hear me out. This is how the match. We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna be like a 12-minute banger. El Grande is gonna grab Rey Mysterio's mask, try to rip it off mid-match. He's gonna fail. Rey Mysterio's gonna pick up the win. He's gonna chase after El Grande to try and, complete the mask versus mask stipulation. El Grande dives under the ring, gets pulled out by his ankles. Body swap. Someone who's not Chad Gable. Rey Mysterio pulls the mask off. It's not Chad Gable. We're all confused.
Oh, so he's going to do the Kurt Angle, Eric Angle store. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Let's do another comparison to Kurt Angle.
We do enough of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm enjoying what they're doing. I don't know how long the legs are in terms of it continuing, but I'm definitely preferring the American-made side of the feud than the LWO side. But we've talked about that at length, I think, heading into this one. Well, that is pretty much all we've got time for. Next week, I believe, is our big look at WrestleMania. If I double check the dates, what are we? 11, but yes, it is. So it has been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D Upper, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND Up. And we will catch you next week taking a look ahead at WrestleMania 41.